Europe is the great territory of the small corners. Seen from the air, the Salto of Roldan emerges like a limestone and conglomerate fortress outlined by the Flumen's water. This river has its source in the mountains of Guara. It comes to rest in the Belsue and Montaragón reservoirs before it reaches the plains of the pit of Huesca. Its 120 kilometers of banks are an artery full of life, a corridor of ashes, poplars and willows illuminating the ochre tones of the Monegros.
Once past Huesca, the Flumen meets the Isuela, keeping its meanders alive, despite flowing through places of great agricultural use. Towards the end, it converges with the Alcanard, below Sariñena, where it still has very interesting natural areas with very well-kept meanders. In short, it is a river that maintains its physical integrity throughout the length of its basin. Therefore, we should maintain these physical and biological values.
With this goal in mind, in 2009, the Regional Board of Monegros made a request to the European Union for the project Life Gobernanza under the title CREAMAgua, a project for the creation and restoration of aquatic ecosystems to improve the water quality and the biodiversity in agricultural basins.
That was a joyful moment for us, for we were selected from among 600 projects at national level. Of those, only 26 were selected to be framed under the project Life Governance, and one of them was the Monegros one.
By then, the Flumen's water was the main problem. This river is located just in the center of the general irrigation system of the High Aragon area. Therefore, its basin absorbs all the surplus of the fertilizers and liquid plant protection products that farmers use during the agricultural campaign. So the regional board wanted to reduce the increase of nitrates and phosphates in water due to these practices. In order to achieve this goal, the advice of the Superior Center for the Scientific Research, Pyrenean Institute of Ecology, was requested.
The river itself is pretty muddy. This fact, added to the surplus of products caused by irrigation, as well as the erosion caused by all the particles in suspension in the water, makes life for plants very difficult, and these conditions affect fishes in the same way. If we bear in mind that the average weight of nitrates per litre goes up to 10 to 15 milligrams for nitrates and goes up to 20 to 30 milligrams for solids in suspension, the only conclusion is that we need to reduce it so we can enrich the river, its basin and its banks.
The CREAMAgua project was framed under the LIFE programme, which is a part of the European Environment Policy and the Governance Subsidy Scheme. One of the reasons Europe approved the CREAMAgua project was the high level of participation of the local agents. Besides the Regional Board of Monegros, other active partners are included: the Ebro Hydrographic Confederation, KV Consulting, the Monegros Research and Studies Institute, and the Monegros Foundation for Youth and Sport. The collaborating partners are the CSIC, Pyrenean Institute of Ecology, the Government of Aragon, the General Board for Irrigation in the High Aragon area, the agricultural trade unions, ASAJA and UAGA, and the 10 town councils whose municipalities this project includes: Albalatillo, Almuniente, Barbués, Capdesasso, Grañén, La Lueza, Poleñino, Sangarrén, Sariñena and Torres de Barbués.
We greatly value this characteristic of the governance scheme, a possibility to structure a territory having all the interested parts acting jointly. This is definitely a great asset in these type of projects.
Yo creo que se consiguió básicamente por la implicación que han tenido muchos en su...
I honestly believe the main reason why this project has been approved is based on the fact that there are a large number of participants who are really involved in it. The participation of the state, the Ebro Hydrographic Confederacy, the regional board, as well as the town councils, the agricultural trade unions, some public companies, and even the government of Aragon establishes the necessary quality stamp for a project like this. It is very important to work together in our territory.
Autorizaciones, etcétera, etcétera. Bueno, pues eso ya, digamos, que da el marchamo de calidad. Y eso es muy importante, porque hacer las cosas juntas es fundamental en esta tierra.
Finally, the creation and restoration of wetlands were started in the summer of 2011. Firstly, some new wetlands out of the natural net for drainage were created. Secondly, some ravines were turned into dams to create artificial lakes. At the end of the day, they created 16 new wetlands throughout the Fluminense Basin, where new vegetation of bulrush, canes and reeds started to emerge. These plants absorb the nitrates and phosphates that come from irrigation farming in a natural way, and so they clean up the dumping into the river. It is with the creation of new wetlands and with the restoration of vegetation in the banks how we will get to improve the quality of water. It is also the way to reduce the nitrates and phosphates coming from agricultural activity, and it is also the way to increase the biodiversity. These are the measures taken from Sangarén to El Balatillo so far.
Our project is based most of all on the creation of wetlands that work as what we call green filters. The big asset of wetlands is the fact that the water is steady, and so that helps us to clean up the solids in suspension, as well as the pesticides and the plant protection products that come from irrigation farming.
The first results could be observed in the summer of 2012. We could see how in La Lueza, in the ravines turned into dams to create small lakes, the reeds started to appear. And the next year, the vegetation spread all round in a natural way. These new wetlands become natural, purifying plants fighting dumping in the river. Another example of the measures taken are the restoration of 70 hectares in the woods on the banks of the Flumen. 17 of them have been reforested with a total amount of 5,243 plants, as we can see on the plains of the Matical of Sariñena. This means that with the restoration of ravines and the creation of artificial basins, they have increased the number of flooded areas.
Aquí lo que intentamos es de reconfigurar otra vez.
One of the ways to recover the woods on the bank is by trying to provide them with natural support. To do so, we can create secondary channels from which water can easily flood the plains. The other way is to clear the undergrowth in these areas that are collapsed with bushes.
Zonas que vemos muy colapsadas para recuperar un poco lo que es el bosque.
In April 2013, they celebrated the ending of the works of the CREAMAgua project. This environmental project was open to the people in the territory. The awareness side of the project has been developed in different ways. People were able to attend several lectures and talks all over the villages of the region of Monegros. Some workshops were prepared in order to introduce this environmental mentality to children in schools, high schools and universities, as well as farmers themselves. Even professionals within agricultural sectors attended these awareness workshops, for all of them are worried about the consequences of dumping in the river.
For us, this project means the possibility of obtaining funds for the necessary improvements to irrigation systems and rural development. Besides this project, we also have to act under the Water Frame Directive that obliges us to return water to the rivers with the same quality it had when we used it. Since we are agricultural professionals, and bearing in mind we depend on water to work, we are very interested in the quality of water. Agricultural trade unions are absolutely committed to the whole process, from the production to the environmental side of it, which means that our participation in a project that acts directly upon nitrogen to extract it from the environment is something completely positive.
The Life CREAMAgua project is a long-term process. Within 30 years, these wetlands will be purifying water more effectively. In the meantime, in the summer 2014, the PIE offered the first results.
We are very happy with these results. for they prove that when the water returns to the flumen, it has 50% less nitrates than it had before it passed through the green filters. It is a logical process, because when water is steady, the solids in suspension settle on the bottom. Once there, nitrates start a biogeochemical process, in which, with the help of certain plants and microorganisms, they change into gas, and they are released into the atmosphere, where they can stay in an endless deposit.
With an investment of 1.8 million euros, this project has added 609 hectares of public land, where all serve for a common target: the improvement of the environment in the rural sector.
Since the beginning of the program in 1992, the life philosophy has always been the same: to give financial support to innovative projects or to demonstrative ones, ultimately to those prepared to test new techniques and methodologies dedicated to solving environmental problems. We, the Regional Board of Monegros and the Ebro Hydrographic Confederacy, firmly believe this LIFE project is exportable to other areas of its basin and even to other hydrographic basins in Spain, because the main goal to achieve with this type of project is to improve water quality, which is also the main goal to achieve under the Water Frame Directive of the European Union.
A flock of cranes crosses the wetland of Sangarren. With the creation of the wetlands, the biodiversity of the region of Monegros has been increased. In the areas of intervention, almost 200 species of birds have been identified, and the mass of reeds is working as a natural purifying plant. The cleaning of the flumen is a hope and a new horizon for the territory, and its example will be helpful to improve water quality in other basins. Thanks to the LIFE CREAMAgua project, the level of nitrates is being reduced and agriculture is walking hand in hand with environment. The river revives and its water is crystallizing into drops full of life.